We've heard time and again that the biggest problem with the EU's withdrawal agreement treaty is that with the Irish backstop included, we can't actually leave the EU until the EU says so. And now Boris has indicated he would sign the agreement if the EU agreed to remove the backstop. But I say the treaty should be stopped in full. You see, there are 5 other huge problems with that treaty. 1. The timing. The treaty doesn't allow us to leave until a separate political declaration is agreed, and this could take years. In many respects, that's the important bit, as it sets out how our future trade with the EU will proceed. Will there be tariffs, for example, and mutual recognition of product standards? During this negotiation or transition period, the EU will be able to make new rules, which we have to abide by, yet we will have no say in what they decide. That's dangerous. Also, the agreement will not allow us to sign trade deals with others until this period is over. When other countries like America are keen to sign up trade deals with us now, why delay? In fact, some legal experts go further, saying the political declaration as it stands will never allow us to sign trade deals with others, keeping us in the customs union forever. Now that's not Brexit. 2. The money. The withdrawal agreement forces us to hand over £39 billion to the EU. Half of this is simply to pay for the extra transition time, which we don't even need. The other half is to pay for projects and pensions that the EU has already committed to, which we shouldn't have to pay for once we've left. In the spirit of goodwill, Theresa May's team agreed we would consider a payment, but who in their right mind would pay if they didn't know what we were getting in return? Nothing should be agreed until everything is agreed. What's more, if the discussions go on longer than 2 years, which of course they would, they always do, the £39 billion would increase. And what's really scary, and only now being talked about, is that the EU has huge debts which we might be liable for according to this treaty even after we have left. The amounts being discussed are in the region of £200 billion. That's over £7,000 for every family in Britain. Sorry, EU, but once we're out, it's not our shout. Number 3, the army. Even though it was denied at the time of the referendum, it is now clear that the EU want their own army rather than rely on NATO to keep the peace. History teaches us that it's crucial to have America involved, but the withdrawal agreement commits us to participating in the new EU Defence Force. This is not in our long-term interest. Number 4, the courts. The withdrawal agreement and political declaration makes it clear that in any future agreements between the UK and the EU, European courts are supreme. That is ridiculous. No one should ever be forced into an agreement where the party you are trying to reach an agreement with is the judge and jury. There should always be an independent arbitrator. As things stand, we would have to abide by EU regulations on employment, environmental standards, and even tax, preventing us becoming more competitive. Number 5, the fish. One of the really big opportunities for Brexit for our island nation is to reclaim our fishing as soon as possible. But the withdrawal agreement doesn't let us. We should not have to give up any of these rights when we leave and should return to what we had before we joined in 1975. Now, these are only 5 examples of what's wrong with the withdrawal agreement. There are plenty more. So, Boris, let's start afresh with a new free trade agreement which is in everyone's interests. Now is the time to stop this agreement in full. Full stop.